to the Patriot Hour for Thursday, February 28th, 2019. I'm Michael, your host. All right, we got another scandal going on here, and we're going to jump into it. A little article. Again, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Give a thumbs up, folks. It helps. We are heavily shadow banned, meaning we don't get put through the traditional methods of YouTube to get promoted, shared. We're not suggested videos for people. So you guys sharing, helping, thumbsing it up helps YouTube know that you're real. You're not a bot. And that's where sometimes the lagginess in the view count, all right? They're trying to verify. And it always gets verified. It's always legit. All right. Again, without further ado, let's jump into this article here. Rashida Tlaib, haunted by fake residence scandal, as nearly 300,000 people signed petition to impeach her. So, Democrat Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is haunted by fake residence scandal as a petition to impeach her has nearly risen to 300,000 signatures at this point. Congressman John Bernstein of Michigan confirmed big league politics through an intermediary that the state representatives in Michigan are legally required to live in their districts. But Tlaib lived in the suburban Dearborn while she was falsely representing a district in Detroit. Tlaib lied about her address on her voter registration. It's a crime, and kicked off her entire political career with the lie. The Change.org petition, started by Miss American Citizen, focuses on the fake residency claim that Tlaib has 282,518 signatures as of this writing. Tlaib infamously vowed to impeach the mother effer, President Trump. Remember that? Michigan Democrat Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib registered to vote from a false address and represented a state house district that she did not actually live in, according to her credit score and property records obtained by Big League Politics. Tlaib's own father even said that Tlaib lied about her address in order to run for office. Here's what the evidence presented below proves. 1. Rashida registered to vote at a false address as she embarked on her first political campaign. Registering to vote using a false address is one of a number of crimes that fall into the voter fraud category. 2. Tlaib ran for and represented the 12th District in Michigan House of Representatives, even though she was not a resident of that district. 3. Records show that Tlaib was an absentee owner at a Detroit house she claimed to live in. 4. Tlaib moved to her official Detroit apartment address, which she reported to the FEC after the election, at the start of her 2018 campaign. Her new address was recorded for the first time one day before she announced her campaign for Congress. Congressman John Bernstein of Michigan told Big League Politics through an intermediary that the Michigan state representatives are required by law to live in the district they represent. Michigan election law requires candidates to submit an affidavit of identity where they must provide truthful residence information. So now Tlaib's father is piping in. He said his daughter misrepresented her residency when she signed an election affidavit in 2008 with the Wayne County clerk, claiming she was a citizen of Detroit. According to that affidavit, Tlaib claimed she lived at redacted in Detroit. The house is owned in part by her father, Harvey Alibed, and he now says she did not live there, and he was only recently made aware that she had claimed so. She lied, said Alibed, 61, an immigrant from Jerusalem and father of 14, who prides himself on old word values of parental fealty. She lied big time to get elected. I never teach her that way. I teach her the right way. It's my house. She didn't live there. She lived in Dearborn in her house with her husband and boy. Dearborn is not part of the 12th House District that Tlaib was elected to represent. Asked why he was telling on his daughter, Harvey Alibed said it was a growing litany of transgressions that his daughter committed upon him. culminating in a dispute about her care for his aged mother, who suffers from dementia. According to Harvey, his daughter sided against him in favor of his nephew in a battle of custody, a complete breach of family values, he said. Now let's take a look at each of Rashada Tlaib's real and stated, stated residencies over the years. All addresses are redacted from this report. So, Rashada Swanky downtown Detroit apartment was first reported on February 5th of 18, one day before she announced her candidacy for Congress, according to Verizon Wireless Records. Tlaib announced her campaign on Tuesday, February 6, 2018. Her announcement was carried out by the Arab Daily News. In that article, Rashad's bio hilariously switches from writing about Tlaib in the third person to declaring I at the beginning of the final sentence, revealing that Rashad Tlaib was writing the bio herself. The article identifies Tlaib as a longtime resident of Detroit. The Arab News reported former Michigan legislator Rashad Tlaib announces this week she is running for Congress in Michigan's 13th Congressional District. Michigan's Democratic primary election is on August 7th of 18. Rashada is a longtime resident of Detroit and a child of Palestine immigrants. Rashada is a former Michigan State Representative where she served 3 terms and was appointed as a Democratic Vice Chairman of the Appropriation Committee. Rashada made history by becoming the first female Muslim elected to the Michigan legislature and only the second in the country. So this goes on and on, folks, a little bit. We're going to skip a little. She bought a house in Detroit in 2016 for less than 6 figures. Rashada Tlaib bought a house in Detroit on May 10, 2016 for $90,000. This address begins appearing in the records on October of 2016. The address was deemed to have a determined absentee voter during this time period. She actually lived in a house in suburban Dearborn from 04 to 16. Feliz Tlaib and Rashada Tlaib, husband and wife, I bought the house on February 26 of 04. In 04, Rashada interned for State Rep Steve Tobacom and joined his staff in 07. Rashada Tlaib was elected on the 12th District, Southwest Detroit in 08, replacing Tobacom. She got 14,176 votes, more than 90% of the vote in the district. But Rashada Tlaib, resident of the nearby suburbs of Detroit, actually lived in the 15th District, Dearborn, excluding Northeast Tip, where Gianno Plotter got more than 77% of the vote, winning his third term. Wow. So, sold the house as a couple, now unmarried on December 20th of 16. The couple sold the house and was listed as an unmarried man. Owner occupied was the official credit rating on the address in Dearborn. She fraudulently claimed her father's house as her own residency to register to vote and to get her driver's license in Detroit instead of Dearborn, where she lived. An official in the University of Michigan Dearborn Office of Metropolitan Impact purchased this house, built in 1923, from Rashada on July 7, 2017, for $59,000. This is the address that Rashida used when she registered to vote on March 5th of 08. She used that address on July 24th of 13 for official insurance. Sold to Kamaski Living Trust, sold it to her in Fayez on April 27th of 09 in a separate purchase of $31,000. On May 2nd at 16, Rashad sold it to Fayez Tlaib for an undetermined amount. Guess what? A 26 report labeled this property at the time sold it, determined absentee owner, meaning Rashad Tlaib was not living there. So there you have it, folks. A little bit of fraud. Nothing new, nothing to see here. Same old antics. Now, Kamala Harris wants to decriminalize prostitution. And the gun control group gets a new disguise. Just covered one similar to that in the last video. Washington, D.C., the Democratic Party continues swerving to the left. The newest zany policy to be embraced by a 2020 frontrunner: decriminalize prostitution. I think so. I do. Kamala Harris declared when asked if she thought sex work should not be treated as a crime in an interview with The Root, published on Tuesday. I was advocating then that we have to stop arresting these prostitutes and instead go after the Johns and the pimps because we're criminalizing the women, she said. Backpage was making money off the sale of youth, so I called for them to be shut down, and I have no regrets about doing that. Harris attempts to make a distinction, suggesting that those engaged in the active exploitation of others or active harm of others should not be free of criminal prosecution. But it's all run by the same people, making Harris' distinctions meaningless and semantic. Philosophical justifications for the despicable practice of modern human slavery in some cases. So problematic for Harris when the law enforcement withdrawn in a sensitive area like trafficking acts and non-consensual adults are also de facto decriminalized. Individuals involved in perpetrating such horrific acts are given even greater freedom to extract harm on children that caught up in the sex industry, either through documented and popular illegal immigration pathways or because of vendors for the consenting adults, or because of the vendors for consenting adults, are also the same vendors peddling child sex victims to elites, according to law enforcement. We could take the word of the law enforcement officers in California, like Officer Tony Herrera, where such decriminalization policies have been tried already, leading some to suggest that it is a de facto legalization of child trafficking. Make no mistake, California, this is a legalization of child prostitution, Officer Tony Herrera writes the Washington Examiner. For his safety, his department and jurisdiction are not provided. California SB 1322 exempts persons under 18 years of age from criminal statutes regarding soliciting, engaging in, and loitering for the purpose of prostitution if that minor receives money or other consideration. Further, it will require law enforcement officers to refer to the juvenile to a county social services agency. He continues, there is no amount of spin or fact-check articles that can change the reality that children can now engage in sex for money without fear of reprisal. In the thinly veiled attempt to save face supporters of this harmful policy in saying that the statement is misguidedly referencing pimps and johns. Pedophile is illegal, and adult prostitution is illegal. Soliciting sex is illegal. Yet the act of child prostitution is now exempted from all these laws. So according to Herrera, prostitution is not like other legitimate industries where there are bright liners where it's possible to decriminalize one thing without also lighting up on another thing. In the human trafficking business, it's all the same thing. And all the business is concentrated in a very few hands as opposed to a numerous and diverse market. I don't know what that was. Not only did California tie law enforcement hands and remove their only opportunity to address a source of the heinous issue, California has now provided pimps more incentive to recruit and exploit minors. Only these prostitutes would be shielded from arrest and jailing. Harris did not seem to think these issues matter, if her statements Tuesday are any indicator. But when you're talking about consenting adults, I think that yes, we should really consider what we can't criminalize consensual behavior as long as no one is being harmed. But at what point that anyone is being harmed or exploited, then we have to understand that there's a different matter, she explained. Yeah. Unbelievable, folks, the amount of craziness going on. Again, I just wanted to read that article to you. I'll be following along today, seeing if anything. We're waiting, folks, what? Possibly the Mueller report today, tomorrow. How about that? Friday right at the close of business is how they normally like to do it. Late night dump or just close of business. And that way they don't have to take any questions over anything. And then by Monday morning, a little bit of the juice is let out of it, right? You had a couple days to marinate. Some other articles to come out over the weekend. And kind of just have it muffled down by Monday morning. A lot of the heat gone, a lot of the pizzazz. So, all right, we're going to shut this one down. Again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you. We'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour update video. Please make sure you're subscribed, like, share, comment, share the video across all your social media platforms while you can. And we appreciate it, folks. Again, get an email out for the hats. Last video I talked about the hats. Get an email. And again, I'll be randomly getting that. All right, we'll talk to you here on the next update video. Have a great morning into your afternoon. See you back.